Hey guys, Nicole Cutterly here, Extension Educator for Youth Development, North St. Louis County. Coming to you guys today to talk about how to make a cloth face covering. Now these face coverings are a great way for you to help out your friends, your family, your community members during this COVID-19 pandemic. What you want to do when you first start out your project is you want to think about who are you making these for and what's the purpose of it. Are you making them just for yourself and your family? Or are you making them for somebody in the community to donate them to? Once you've decided that, you want to reach out to the institution that you want to donate to and see what their requirements are for the face masks. See if they need anything specific, need to be made out of anything specific, or what general donation requirements do they have. Once you do that, you can go to our website, into our cloth face covering website article, and you can download this great resource guide from the University of Wisconsin. In here, you'll find step-by-step instructions on how to make a face covering, as well as a pattern to make them from. Once you've downloaded it from our website, go ahead and cut out the pattern piece in the back part of it. Once you've got it cut out, then you're ready to get started. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to get started with making these cloth face coverings. So what you want to do is take a piece of fabric. This is just an old piece of fabric I had laying around the house. And I folded it in half so I get the two sides that I need for it. Then I've cut out my pattern piece. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this and pin it right on here and then cut two pieces of fabric. Okay, so now that I've got this pinned on here, I can go ahead and get it cut out. Okay, so now that I have the fabric cut out, now I need to cut my elastic. And so you need two pieces of elastic that are 7 inches long. And on that same pattern piece that you cut out, there's a little thing for elastic that measures out 7 inches. So go ahead and cut these out and then we'll get started sewing. Okay, now we need to pin everything together. So you're going to take your two pieces of fabric and you're going to put the right sides together on it. Then you're going to take your elastic and you're going to put it between the two pieces of fabric on the short ends and pin them in the corners. Once you have your elastic pinned between the two pieces of fabric on each corner, then you're going to go ahead and repeat that on the other side. Once your 4 corners are pinned, then you can go ahead and you can pin the rest of your fabric down. And somewhere on one of the two long edges, you want to leave a 2-inch gap. This 2-inch gap is going to be where we turn the fabric right side out so that we can actually see your design on our fabric. Okay, now that our fabric is pinned, we can go ahead and start sewing. What you're going to want to do is where you marked off that 2-inch gap to turn your fabric back to the right side out, you're going to want to start on one end of that and then sew around the fabric to the other end so that that gap is open. And we'll show you how to close that in a little bit. But let's first start by sewing the edges down. So when you get ready to sew your fabric, you're going to want to line up the edge of the fabric with the edge of the foot. This is going to give you a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Then you can go ahead and start sewing. We're going to go forward 4 or 5 stitches and then go back to secure it. And then do the same thing in each corner to reinforce the corners where the pieces of elastic are. This is going to help make a nice tight seam for you to really hold that elastic in there. Now as I reach my final pin, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing where I'm going to go and take 4 or 5 stitches forward and then back again to reinforce the opening. Now that our mask is sewn, we can go ahead and take it off the machine and then we're going to turn it right side out. So to turn it right side out, you're just going to feed it right through that opening, kind of create like a little ball for it, and then straighten out the sides. And you can gently pull on the elastic. That'll kind of help open up the seams a little bit more and make it nice and flat for you. Now that we've got our mask turned right side out, we can go ahead and kind of flatten out the seam so that it lays flat. And then we need to put in 3 pleats on each side. Now this stuff can be a little bit difficult, so you may need some help with it. What you're going to do is you're going to go on the short side of your fabric and you're going to mark out about halfway. You can do this by just taking a pin and putting a pin in the fabric. And that marks your halfway point. With that halfway point marked, what you're going to do is you're going to fold the fabric up about 1/2 of an inch, making a pleat, and then pin that pleat down. Once you get the pleat pinned, you can go ahead and do that 2 more times right above it and right below it. Just make sure the pleats are all going in the same direction. Once your pleats are pinned, then you can go ahead and do this on the other side of the fabric. Okay, now that I've got both sides of my pleats pinned, I'm going to go ahead and where that opening was that I used to turn the fabric right side out, just going to make sure that it's closed and fold it in. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my sewing machine and I'm going to stitch around the fabric on the outside like a top stitch all the way around. That's going to close off this opening, and it's also going to sew in my pleats on the sides as well. Again, I'm going to line up my fabric with the edge of the foot, creating that 1/4 inch seam allowance as I sew around the outside of my fabric. As I get to these pins in the pleats, I'm going to take those out, and once this is done, I'm going to have a mask. Now that I have everything sewn, I can go ahead and cut all my strings on my mask, and it's completed. And you can put it on and try it out and see how it looks on you. And when you're done, you can go ahead and you can reflect on your experience, because we do that in 4-H. We do a lot of reflection. So some of the things you can do is, how did you feel while helping with this project? What were your favorite parts of the project? What are some other ways that you can use your sewing skills to support your community? Some places are asking for surgical caps to be made if you want to go down that route, or maybe there's another project that you can help out with. In addition to face coverings, what are other ways you can help prevent the spread of disease and viruses? And then lastly, what does this project mean to you? Why was it important to do projects like these? So hopefully you've learned something today and are excited to get out and try making your own mask. I look forward to seeing you guys soon.